Ever feel like your mind is just
Like a runaway train.
yeah, exactly. A runaway train,
Yeah.
bouncing between to-do lists and news feeds and like that thing I said 5 years ago. And
Tell me about it.
today's deep dive is all about, getting a grip on that chaos, right?
Yes.
We're diving into mind and modern problems.
Okay.
And this book does not mess around.
It really doesn't. It cuts right to the chase.
No.
Instead of telling you to empty your mind or whatever, it's like your mind is a Ferrari. Learn to drive the darn thing.
Okay, I'm listening.
Right.
So how does it even begin to tackle that?
Well, it starts with this really cool analogy, right? It compares our inner world to a chariot. Okay, so like you're the rider, your physical body's the chariot itself.
Makes sense so far.
Hold on, because it gets good. So your intellect, that's the charioteer trying to wrangle the reins.
Oh, yeah.
And those wild horses, those are our
So
senses.
if the horses bolt, the charioteer better like really be on top of it. Or that rider's going for a wild ride
Exactly.
in that uncontrolled chaos. Is that what we're talking about here? With our, everyday minds.
Precisely. The book argues that we've become like slaves to every notification ding, every headline, every
Blue shiny thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Constantly reacting instead of consciously choosing where our focus goes.
It's true. It's like we're bombarded with information 24/7 now. Do you think that's why so many people just feel scattered?
It definitely plays a role. I mean, the book makes the point that most of us, even with all our fancy education and stuff,
Yeah.
we haven't been taught how to train our attention,
Yeah. Yeah.
how to really focus.
Right, right. So how do we go from scattered to sharp? What's the first step to, like, taming these wild horses, so to speak?
Well, the book dives into this whole thing about the power of concentration.
Okay.
And you're right. It's not just about,
Monks sitting on a mountaintop.
Exactly. Like, who has time for that these days?
Right. So how does the book make concentration, like, relevant to our busy lives?
It gives this example of Swami Vivekananda, the Indian monk, who
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so engrossed in, like, a book of poems that he didn't even notice someone talking to him.
Wow.
Talk about focus.
Next level.
Well,
Okay, but it proves a point, right? Like, when you're truly concentrated, distractions just fade away.
yeah.
But how do we get there?
It's a process.
Right.
The book kind of breaks it down into two key factors.
Yeah.
Living a disciplined life and being
Yeah.
mindful of your own thoughts.
So it's about creating structure, but then also about paying attention to those, like, mental rabbit trails that we all go down.
Yeah.
What does the book even mean by disciplined living, though?
Yeah. So it's not about, like, becoming a robot or anything.
Yeah.
It's more about just making these conscious choices that support, a clear mind.
What?
Think about it. If your life's always chaotic, your mind's going to mirror that, right?
So true, yeah. Cluttered space, cluttered mind, as they say. But what about those of us who, like, thrive on a little chaos? How do we even begin to, like, wrangle our thoughts in that case?
That's where the mindful observation comes in.
Thought?
The book compares it to, like, becoming a detective of your own mind.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start noticing, okay, I do this every time I'm on a deadline, or this is what sends me down an internet rabbit hole.
It's so true.
Just that awareness is huge.
So it's about spotting the patterns, the mental, like, detours.
Exactly.
Then what?
Once you're aware of them, you can start, like, gently redirecting your focus.
Okay.
The book really emphasizes that it's not about, like, silencing your thoughts completely.
Right.
It's more about choosing which ones deserve, like, your attention.
Choosing your thoughts. I like that. So we're training our concentration like a muscle, basically.
Yes,
But let's be real. That takes effort.
it does.
What happens when your mind just feels totally fried?
That's where the book introduces the super powerful tool,
Okay.
meditation.
Okay.
And no, it's not just about relaxation,
Right.
although that is a nice bonus.
Because I was going to say,
Yeah.
isn't there an app for that?
Right.
But this book frames it as something deeper. Right?
It's like hitting a mental reset button, Not to escape reality, but to see it more clearly.
I like that.
One fascinating point the book makes is that what we consume through our senses, it's just as impactful as what we eat.
Hold on. Are you saying that, like, scrolling through social media is like junk food for the brain?
Kind of, yeah. The book argues that those sensory experiences, they leave these little imprints on our minds. And they shape our thoughts and emotions long after the experience itself is over.
So those, like, doom scrolling sessions, they linger longer than we think.
They do?
That's kind of scary, to be honest.
Makes you more mindful of what you're feeding your mind, though, right?
True.
That's where meditation becomes so powerful.
Okay.
It allows you to step back from that, like, constant stream of input and just observe your thoughts and feelings with a bit more distance.
Okay, so if meditation is more than just, like, chilling out, what does the book suggest? How do we actually do it?
The book offers some practical advice on like posture, finding the right environment, and
Yeah.
what to actually like focus on mentally.
Right.
The great thing is it doesn't have to be this huge time commitment.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Even a few minutes of like consistent practice can make a difference.
So starting small, building that meditation muscle.
Exactly.
Okay. But the real question is, how does all this lead to an unstoppable mindset, as the book calls it? That's what we're all here for, right?
Right.
Right. Unstoppable mindset.
Right.
That has a nice ring to it.
It does.
But how do we actually build that? What's the, like, secret sauce?
Well, according to the book, it all starts with character, and not like the kind you're born with,
Right.
but the kind you cultivate through, good habits, inner strength, that kind of thing.
Interesting. Because we live in a world that's, like, obsessed with talent, right?
Totally.
Overnight successes and viral moments and all that.
Yeah.
But this book is saying character is what really matters.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
It argues that, like, true lasting success, it's built on this foundation of strong character, not, fleeting fame or fortune.
But building character implies challenges, setbacks.
Sure.
And let's be real, nobody likes to fail.
True. But the book has this really empowering perspective on failure.
Okay.
It talks about how, like, the Beatles were rejected by a record label early on.
Oh, wow.
Edison, thousands of failed attempts to invent the light bulb. Even Columbus, like, being told his voyage was impossible.
Wow. Yeah.
So
So the message is failure is just part of the journey.
exactly. It's not the end of the story. It's about having the guts to keep going, even when things get tough. The book even mentions Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam,
Okay.
the former president of India.
Right.
He was obsessed with rockets as a kid. Even when people laughed at him, his creations crashed and burned. Like, literally.
Right.
And yet he ends up playing a key role in India's space program.
It's proof that those setbacks, they can actually make us stronger.
100%.
It's like that saying, what doesn't kill you?
Makes you write a best-selling book about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's about reframing those tough experiences, right?
Yes.
They don't have to define us.
Yeah.
They can refine us.
Well,
So we're building character. We're getting back up after setbacks.
Yeah.
But there's also this element of self-belief, right?
oh, for sure.
Believing we can actually achieve those, like, big goals.
Yeah. The book keeps coming back to the power of that I can do anything mentality.
It sounds so simple, but I guess it's about really believing it.
It really is.
Deep down,
Oh.
Not just like wishful thinking, but real conviction.
Exactly. And that's where taking ownership comes in, right?
Okay.
The book talks about these like 10 areas of life where we actually have the power to make conscious choices.
Okay.
It's a good reminder that we're not just passengers along for the ride,
Right.
We have agency. We can shape our own reality.
So instead of like dwelling on the past or worrying about the future,
Right.
it's about focusing on what we can control
Yes.
right now, in this moment.
The book's big takeaway is to embrace the present moment.
It's
All we truly have, right?
We spend so much time lost in regrets or anxieties that we miss out on, like the beauty of what's right in front of us.
Which brings us to the book's final and perhaps most intriguing point.
Okay.
It introduces this concept of tapas.
Tapas, like the Spanish appetizers.
Not quite. In this context, tapas refers to like voluntarily embracing discomfort
Okay.
for the sake of growth.
Interesting.
It's about pushing our boundaries, challenging ourselves in ways that ultimately make us stronger,
So what small discomfort can we embrace this week to stretch those mental muscles? That's something for all of us to think about. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into mind and modern problems. We hope this episode has inspired you to take control of your chariot, tame those wild horses, and unlock the incredible power of your own mind.